In one of the most daring evacuation operations by the army involved in rescue operations in Sikkim, a Cheetah helicopter managed to land on a precipice, as you can see, so that 2 injured people could be evacuated. The pilots on the chopper spotted a stranded bus full of passengers. ITBP personnel on the ground indicated that there were 2 casualties. 2 brigadiers who happened to be on board exited the Cheetah helicopter because the helicopter can carry only 2 passengers. This enabled the injured. That's the picture that really tells the story there. That tiny thing was the helicopter. This enabled the injured to be rescued. The dramatic rescue happened between Mangan and Chugthang, 2 of the areas worst affected. Well, joining us now, the 2 pilots on board the helicopter that carried out that dramatic rescue, Lieutenant Colonel M.A. Hydari and Captain R.P. Gohain. Thank you both very much for speaking to us this evening. Colonel Hydari, what was your mission and what exactly did you encounter?
We were on a routine mission to recce the extent of damage which was caused to the National Highway 31. I was to carry 2 brigadiers from the Army Engineer Corps who were responsible for maintaining the roads in Sikkim. At milestone 86, we were able to spot a stranded bus and a few ITBP personnel who were trying to indicate to us they had a few casualties. As we descended closer, we came to know that there was 1 fatally injured casualty and 1 critically injured casualty who required immediate evacuation. We decided to go in for landing. However, as we got closer, we realized that there were sheer landslides on either side and landing was difficult. We came close to the road which had almost washed off and came to a hover. The 2 brigadiers, in the true army spirit, decided to make space for the critically wounded and they jumped off the helicopter when we were still at about 7 feet above ground in a hover. Thereafter, the casualties were picked up while we were still hovering and my co-pilot, Captain R.P. Gohain, held the door open for him while I was handling the controls.
Captain Gohain, now in simple terms, what made hovering or nearly landing in that particular place so incredibly difficult?
As you all know, the road was blocked from both the sides because of landslides, and towards the right there was a cliff, and towards the left there was a 100-feet drop which leads to a river, and there was no place to land, and it was small, very small road. And the most dangerous thing about the mission was there was no place to land and the rotors had the danger of hitting the cliff. If we had moved a bit more towards the right, our rotors would hit the cliff, and if we moved towards the left, there was a danger of the casualty falling down into the river.
Colonel, how did you get the injured up into this helicopter? Because that would have been an extremely difficult operation by itself. You mentioned that you were 7 feet off the ground, so and you were holding hover in that particular area. How did you actually manage to get the body of 1 person and that injured person on board?
While we were hovering, one of the ITBP personnel, my lower part of the helicopter was about 7 feet from the ground, so he climbed onto it and got into the helicopter. Thereafter, he assisted the casualty to come in who was in an unconscious state. He was pulling while another ITBP personnel was trying to push him in. So the 2 individuals, along with assistance of other ITBP personnel, pushed the casualty into the helicopter. And then we realized that the casualty was very much critically injured. He had multiple fractures all over his body, including his head. The 2 ITBP personnel carried the casualty on his lap on our way to Gangtok.
And Captain Gohain, what happened to the 2 brigadiers who were on board, who you left behind? They jumped that 7 feet. What happened finally to them? Did they have to get back? I mean, did they have to hike back? Or how did they actually meet up with the rest of the army?
They were very positive. They always they told us they can get down and we can pick up the casualties. So immediately when we went near the casualty, they had jumped off and we picked up the casualty, and they had walked a few kilometers behind, and we picked them up from a place called Tung that's near Mangan.
All right, final question to you, Colonel Hydari. At any stage, did you consider aborting this mission because of the risks involved?
The mission was difficult, but it had put our skills to test. We are soldiers from the sky, from Army Aviation. and we know the value of human life more than anyone else. It was for us to bring out that casualty, or he would not have survived.
All right, Colonel Hydari and Captain Gohain, you make a lot of us feel very, very proud today. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. Fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.